What is going on, beautiful people? You are listening to the Affirmations for Black Girls podcast, where we focus on personal growth and cultivating a healthy relationship with ourselves. I am your host, Tyra, the creative actress, content creator, and mental health enthusiast. And you guys have been waiting for this episode for a whole week. This is part 2 to a wonderful conversation that I had with the one and only, the talented and inquisitive Taylor Cassidy, who is the creator of the viral video series Fast Black History. Now, I have her back with us today. Now, we already had this conversation, but we had to split it in two because when two Black women get to talking, baby, we cannot be stopped. But she is back with us today, and we've already covered setting boundaries as a creative and the power of purpose-driven content. So if you did not listen to last week's episode, be sure to catch up on part 1 on YouTube because these are video episodes. But listen, if you're driving on your commute, on a walk or something, and you only have your phone to listen, baby girl, go ahead and stay and listen. But we do have the video version, and we promise to do more video episodes in the future. So I wanted to make sure I plug that. Now, for today's episode, we are picking up right where we left off, covering creative burnout, conquering our fears, and just doing stuff for fun. And if you thought last week's episode was just getting good, just wait until you hear what else we got into. I'm super excited to dive back in. So I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to let us go ahead and get into this episode, okay? This is Affirmations for Black Girls.
Powerful. Your things are as powerful. Few things are as powerful as power.
Have you ever had to pivot your content or a certain message to protect your mental health?
That's a good question. I think there have definitely been moments in my life where, specifically when talking about Black history, I've had to let myself focus on lighter Black history topics rather than go into like very nitty gritty, like heavy stories because of my own mental health. There's this like phrase going around on TikTok right now called Black fatigue. And I feel like it's a new trending phrase, but I'm like, this ain't new to me.
Yeah.
But it's essentially like the feeling of, it's kind of the vibe of not really wanting to watch movies about slavery on a random Friday night, not like wanting to take a break from only hearing about bad news when it comes to our community. You know, it's because it does get tiring on your mental health to only hear about bad news, only research things that have happened to us that are hard to hear about. So there are times where maybe sometimes I struggle sometimes with depression, anxiety. And in those moments, I know that if there's a topic that I want to talk about, I have to go easy on myself and maybe say, let's find a fun Black music artist I didn't know about. Let's find a fun Black designer that I have never heard about and see if I can make an outfit based on their designs or something. And that way I'm still educating, but I'm not forcing myself to consistently and always go down a rabbit hole of finding like the worst news ever.
Yes.
And while that history is important to know and not be hidden, I don't think it's necessary to make yourself focus on it every single day, 24/7, because on the other side of that is survival and is joy and is victory and resilience. And I think that that's important to be focused on too. And if you need a reminder of that, I think that's what I do. I find the joy and I find the resilience until I feel strong enough to go and find those heavier topics again.
I definitely agree with that. In my podcast specifically, I did a 7-part series on childhood trauma, and everyone loved it. And they're like, we need more of this. I also mentioned a lot of my childhood trauma stems from my mom and dad getting a divorce when I was in 9th grade. I was a very high achieving child. I ended up being valedictorian of my class, but it cost me my mental health. It cost me my mental health for sure, because I tried to, in my very small town, I tried to pretend nothing was happening, even though everyone around me knew what was going on in my household. And I was like, well, I'm not about to let that phase me. I'm about to show them that I can still be valedictorian. I can still do all my work, blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned that, and this has been 2 years ago now that I did the series, or the series, and everybody was like, we need more on like your, not necessarily on my parents' divorce, but growing up in a broken home. And I was like, y'all gonna have to wait. Y'all gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still working through that in therapy in new ways. Both of my parents are now newly remarried, and so it's weird. I'm 30, but that don't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I emotions and stuff started to come up that I was like, oh, wait, hold on. What is this? What's going
That's
on?
buried in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there. And I thought, I'm talking about in it. It's in
In
there.
it. I thought the same thing. I thought the same thing.
I had to say it. I had to say it. Yes, it's in there. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait until I can fully take y'all through this without it affecting me in a way where I have to like I'm a very, very emotional creative. And when I get deep in my emotions, it's so taxing on my body to do anything. So I was like, I'm going to wait on that. So I
Mhm.
totally get that. So I talk about the lighter stuff. And I have even deemed my podcast as the Sad Girl podcast because my best work always comes out of the deepest sadness that I have. Like those are the highest performing episodes. Our highest performing episode right now is Why Disappointments Are a Gift from God. That
Mm.
episode is like it's just but I understand the assignment that has been placed on me, and at this moment or at that moment when they were really like, okay, we need more on broken home and all of this type of stuff because there's so many of us that are a part of one. I was like, I'm going to wait until I'm in a space where I can fully dive into this in a way that will not have me laying in the bed for 2 weeks because that's just the
Right.
type of creator that I am.
Right. And I think it's important that you set that boundary because you don't want to be working out of a place of burnout,
Yeah.
even before you've even had a chance to work through that emotion. That's
Yeah.
actually, it's a chapter in my book. I talk about Ida B. Wells and how she spent so much of her life talking about her friends being lynched and going around to different communities and uncovering other stories and literally traveling, talking about this over and over and over again. And in the chapter, you'll discover that there's a moment of vulnerability that hit her unexpected because of how much she had been pushing down
Yeah.
the emotion. And I shared a story from my own life about how I kind of did the same thing that you did in high school, where I kind of had really bad workaholic tendencies about like
Mhm.
2, 3 years ago, where I thought that if I said no to anything, it meant I was ungrateful.
Yeah.
And so I just pushed down to the point where my physical health was really, really affected. So I think it's important to allow ourselves to take time in private to let ourselves
Yes.
process it in our own way. And that's why I love in the book, on certain chapters, I put little warnings in the chapter that we'll be discussing something very heavy in terms of Black history. And if you need to skip it for now and come back, that's okay. We must protect our joy. Like, no hard feelings, just to give space for somebody to be like, I'm going to read this later, but not today because I'm
Hmm.
not equipped. But I'm going to come back and read it
Hmm.
later.
That's so
Yeah.
important. Yeah, I trigger warnings are very important, and I make sure to put those at the beginning of podcast episodes too. Because the first time that I happened to mention something that I didn't even realize could be a trigger. At the time, I was talking about like my parents' divorce, just for like 2 minutes in an episode, and my friend was listening, and she was like, "Oh, I had to turn it off," and I was like, "Oh shoot." I need to make sure that I am doing these trigger warnings because I'm the type of person I don't like to be blindsided emotionally. Or I call it an
Mm-hmm.
emotional drive by. Like I don't need that in my life when I'm not in a space where I can like handle it. So, yeah, those trigger warnings are super important to me. I'm so glad that you put those in the book because yeah, I want to be able to get my mind right, be like, okay, well, I'm about to read about Ida B. Wells. Let me take a walk first. Let me really get my mind right so I can still learn about this. And just knowing about it does add a level of comfort, and it just helps you get through it as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Just to know that somebody is like taking the time to present this theme in a way, in knowing that it is a heavy topic and
Mhm.
we're going to go through it, but we'll be in it together.
Yes, yes. Now you mentioned this, you mentioned burnout. Tell me a little bit more about that. What has burnout looked like for you in the past?
So for me, I feel like, especially as a working creative, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, burnout is just something you do not avoid. Like
Yeah.
you just can't avoid it. And I've experienced burnout so many times. I know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
And I know that for me, the signs for me when I start experiencing it are not having motivation to do things that initially would make my mood go up. I would start to experience, symptoms of depression. I would have a lot more anxiety. And especially when it comes to content, whenever I would create content, it would feel like the hardest thing to get through it. And whenever I would watch a video back or look at my feed or whatnot, I notice myself being extra critical over things that really don't matter. Or when I look at my content, I can't see the reason that I started. So for me, those are moments where I have to take a step back and really ask myself, okay, what are you afraid of right now? What are you worrying about in this moment long term? And more often than not, that's the question that helps me discover what I need to change. Because most of the time, burnout happens whenever I've outgrown something and I'm forcing myself to continue doing it and I'm too scared to change it. Yeah, honestly, I had a really big moment of burnout at the top of this year creatively. Like I had a lot of insecurities in myself as a creator and where my future was going. And I started The Artist's Way, which is like a book. It's like a course, 12-week course for creatives. That book changed my life.
Yes.
It like creative ways and other things in my life. But what it really taught me was asking yourself, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of creatively? What are you afraid of in terms of failure, in terms of success? And how can you change your life to make it a place of play rather than a test all of the time? That was a long-winded answer, but yeah.
No, it was perfect because I have The Artist Way now. I haven't started it yet, but I need to go ahead and do that because I've been creating for so long, like even before 2017. That's when I started my digital creation journey, but I went to school for theater. My major is in performance and directing. Then I went to culinary school. I am a pastry chef. I have always been a creative vessel. And I experienced burnout just like you said as well. I never thought about it as when I outgrow something, but when you said that, I'm like, oh, shoot, that makes so much sense. But I like growing up how I grew up, and especially in the deep South, like paying attention to your mental health just wasn't something you thought about, right? So that was deeply ingrained in me as well. So I started to learn when I would be burnt out physically what will happen to me. I would feel like I got hit by a truck. Literally, I would get
Yeah.
so stressed and tired that I couldn't really move around. Like it's just so insane. And it was happening a lot. I thought something bad was going on with me. And I went to the chiropractor about it. I went to my doctor about it. And they were telling me that it is stress. And I was like, oh my gosh, why am I so stressed? And like when I started going to therapy in 2019, through all of that stuff, I learned that I was experiencing extreme burnout on a regular basis. And it's because I'm push, 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 just like in high school. I'm still going to do all this work, still valedictorian in my class. I still had a job. I played basketball. I did all of this stuff that just continued all the way through like 2019. I'm 30. I graduated in 2012. And I just kept that same type of work ethic and movement for all of that time. And now, because I too started to feel a little burnt out earlier this year, I would say around March for me, and around the end of March. And I had a couple of things to tie up here in LA. And then I was like, I'm gonna go home. So for the end of June and most of July, I went home and I just sat in my mama's house. And for me, that is so reinvigorating for me to get back to my roots, to just sit, because living in the South will teach you how important a slow pace of life is. When I first moved away and I would go back home, I would just be so antsy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should be doing something. I should be doing. Girl, stop. Stop. Like I realized just how the fast-paced life of, because I went to culinary school in Philly, of living in the East Coast was, and I realized what the fast-paced life of LA, even though it's a lot slower than the East Coast, girl, I don't know how you're doing it out in New York, but all of that fast-paced lifestyle just put this unneeded sense of urgency in me on a daily basis, and I constantly have to go back home to recenter myself. And I think it's very important for me to make sure that I'm making time to go home, sit at my great grandma's house. Maybe I'll do something in her garden with her, go see my grandparents. That type of thing is so important because it, one, stops me from feeling like I'm about to be burnt out again, but it also reminds me that it's more important to be present in the moment than it ever was to be on top of this project, doing this, that, and the third. And I don't know. I just, ever since I realized that, baby, I'm going home. Okay. I'm spending time at the house and I'm about to go back to Louisiana for almost a month. And I just got back in July, but I'm like, I'm so ready to go back to Louisiana because when I came back, I was like, oop, I feel it. I feel it. I feel it coming again. And it's just important to make sure that you're paying attention to your body because that's the first place that I notice it. It may not just be noticing like mentally the shift, but pay attention to what's happening with your body whenever that starts changing because that's going to be a telltale sign right there. And that's how I started realizing when I was stressing myself out too much and being burnt out.
Yeah. You just gave me an idea. My mom has a garden too. I feel like that would be so lovely gardening with her.
Oh
I'm gonna write that
yes.
down.
Yes, do it. I absolutely love it. I was at this was like a year and a half ago now, but I was at home and I was at my great grandma Lily house. And I walked over there because she lives right across the street from my papa, which is her son. And I was seeing them and I was like, let's go see Grandma Lily, Papa. So we walked over there and she has a cactus in the front yard that had prickly pear on it. And prickly pear is so good. Have you ever had prickly pear?
No.
Girl, it's so good. It's kind of like kiwi in the way that it looks, but it's red and it has like the seeds inside, but it's very good. It's a
Ooh.
fruit and it grows on cacti. And I was like, Mama, you got all these prickly pear out here and they cost like $6 a pound at the grocery store. She's like, I didn't know you could eat that. So we all went out there and I showed them how to harvest it. And then we took them off. We tried it by itself. And then I was like, let me make y'all some lemonade because she also got a lemon tree. Here, let me get these lemons and let me put this prickly pear and let's make some lemonade. So just stuff like that. Taylor, oh my gosh, yes.
I need like a documentary of your life because that sounds so wonderful. I'm like, "Oh, I want to visit. Take me with you.
Yeah.
Take me with you."
You have to come. It's a colorful place. I absolutely love it. Like a lot of people think that New Orleans is the only place to visit, but the pockets of Louisiana are so different. You'll have a totally different experience anywhere you go, whether it's New Orleans or Baton Rouge or a small town like St. Francisville or Shreveport. All of that will be like a totally different experience. So come, you have to come. So we're going to move on to topic 3, choosing joy anyway. So joy can be resistance, and in a world that tries to drain us, sometimes joy is the most radical thing we can hold on to. So what does joy look like for you, both on camera and off camera? I know what joy look like for you on camera. Well, in terms of the final piece of content, but what does it look like for you?
Man, joy for me has always been a survival technique. And I say that because it's been like a pattern for me to fall into a lot of self-criticism. But whenever I do things meant for me to smile or meant for me to just relax, it kind of tells my brain like, actually, it's not like, actually, everything is going to be okay. Actually, everything is going to turn out for the better. And when you say joy is resistance, it truly is. It's a true thing. It's also to express that joy is a privilege too. Mm-hmm. So I feel like in terms of how I define it, it's something that I cling on to get me through my darkest moments. Like I try to, whenever I'm done working for like the day, if I've done like all of my tasks, I make it a point to be off of social media as much as possible because first of all, I think it drains joy.
Yes.
I believe that. I think it drains joy because it takes you out of the present. It makes you compare yourself to other people. Mm-hmm. But I try to do hobbies that wouldn't usually give me any monetary value, no social value, no cultural value, none of that. Like literally it is just for fun. Mm-hmm. And this can be anywhere from taking a ballet class one day. Mm-hmm. I'm not trained to ballet. My hips are not open like that.
Mine
But
ain't either. Oh, Jesus.
but I'll take a class like that. I'll go roller skating. I'll cook a recipe I've never tried. I'll embroider a shirt even if I don't know how to embroider. I'm gonna sit down and
Yes.
learn. Simply because like those things teach you to play and to have
Yes.
fun and to let that play and that joy exist alongside the very real emotions that are happening. So I don't know. I think joy for me is a survival tactic. It's play. And yeah, I think I'd define it that way. I hope that's a good answer.
Girl, it is. And I love that you said joy is play because I say that all the time on the podcast. Like, it is so important for us to play, even as adults. Like, we have to play. I've been coined the hobby queen. Okay. I have so many hobbies, right? I do pottery.
The
I
pottery.
bake.
Yeah.
Yes, I do pottery. I bake. I garden. Like I have like a balcony space. So I don't have like an in-ground garden, but I got an urban garden and I'll be calling my pawpaw and that's how we be bonding. I'll be like, Pawpaw,
I
what's
love
this
that.
bug on my plant? So I be doing that. I'm also a little bit of a gamer. I'm a Nintendo girl, so I play Harvest Moon and I do Sims as well. I like to build Lego. I like to do DIY projects. Hobbies have saved my life. I've been living out in California since 2018. And for the longest time, I was just working and going home. And when I started to actually pour into my other cups, that's when I truly felt joyful again. It was like this underlying joy that just like snuck up on me. And I was like, where is this coming from? I like this. And it was because I started to just do stuff just for fun that, like you said, that no monetary value out of it, no cultural value out of it. All of that's like literally just to make myself smile, to make me feel something outside of my everyday. So I would say that's what joy is for me as well. Yeah, play.
Yeah. I love that so much. And I remember whenever you talked about you getting into pottery on one of
Oh,
your episodes, I
yes.
was locked in. I was locked in. But yes, like I feel like having those hobbies or even having like a place that you go to after work or like
Mm,
a 5 minute meditation that you
yeah.
do whenever you have the time, those moments are so important because it tells yourself, for me at least, it tells my inner child, you're still allowed to exist. Like
Yes.
you're not being silenced. You can come out and play and it's safe to do that, you know.
Oh my gosh. I literally ask myself that question all the time. What would 5-year-old Tyra want in this moment? What would 10-year-old Tyra want in this moment? I still have my baby picture in my bathroom. I see that every morning. I see 6-year-old Tyra, okay? Snaggletooth and all, okay?
I love that.
I absolutely love
That's
that.
lovely.
Yeah, our inner child. Oh, yes, 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 yes. So we talked a little bit about it, but what tools, people, or routines help you refill your cup outside of what you done already told us?
Refilling my cup. One thing about me, I got to get out the house and I got to be around my loved ones.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean like I got to be around people in general. I
Mm-hmm.
have to be around my inner circle. That's something that is a really important lesson that I learned this year because usually I'm a homebody and I'm a very independent person. Like
Uh-huh.
I was raised to be an independent I was raised to be an independent woman, like, but to the max degree
Yeah.
sometimes to where it almost like I listened to a podcast episode about this too, where like I take care of everything myself. Like
Yes.
I
Girl,
got
let
it.
that
Like
man
no,
help you.
like
Yeah, let these people
yeah,
help you.
that's the episode. Yeah. But I learned this year. I literally learned this year. I was like, if I started to like self isolate a lot in a way where I didn't even realize I was
Yeah.
doing it, and I noticed that once I would hang out with my sister every week, or I would be with my boyfriend every week or something, I would leave feeling like somebody's got my back or somebody's
Mm-hmm.
got my support system, even if all we're doing is sitting in the park together,
Yeah.
or I'm helping her build a furniture item that she purchased. Like little moments like that really do create joy because subconsciously you know that if something were to happen, you have people around you that love
That you can
you
call
that
on. Yeah.
exactly. So I think without them, that cup would be half full.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Half full.
I would. Definitely agree. And I think since I live far away from home, it's so much more important and it's so much bigger when I go home to fill my cup because they're not readily available in a physical sense
Yeah.
anymore. I have one brother and I love that boy. We're less than a year apart. We are Irish twins, and like you said, like going to like help your sister build a piece of furniture or something that she bought. I just be at my brother's house, like, okay, PJ, what we about to do? What do you need
Hmm.
help with? It doesn't matter. The mundane things are where I find the most joy because I can truly just be. I don't have to be performative. It's not transactional. I don't have to be giving too much. We can just truly just exist in this moment. So yeah, my family is important to me. I love to cook with my family as well, especially like my brother. My brother is also a content creator, so I be helping him film. My mom, I love to cook with her, and like my daddy, we do a lot of outside stuff. Like we'll go shooting or we'll go pick some okra out the garden or fishing, things like that. Those things give me the most joy. I realize that I'm just a country girl at heart for real. And being in the country, even though I live far away because of the career that I have chosen and my dreams, going back home and as a whole fills my cup. And the people that fill my cup are my close family.
Yeah. I love that so much. And that's why I feel it's so important to give time to exploring what joy means to you because
Yeah.
then you find out more about your own identity and what speaks to you the most. Even if you're doing something that by the end of it you're like, actually I didn't like that very much. At least you tried it and you figured
Yeah.
out more of who you are.
Exactly. That's so important. Okay, so last question here. What advice would you give someone wanting to make education or value-based content, especially in this age of content creation where it's a lot of everything out there?
If somebody is wanting to teach a topic or deep dive into something that they're really passionate about, I would say two things. One, I would say write down your intention of why you want to share it so that no matter what happens, no matter what trend comes along that reminds you of the topic, you know the intention that you're sharing it with, what purpose, what you want people to leave with, what lesson you want people to leave with, the mood that you want them to leave with. And the second thing I'd say is don't be afraid to be a beginner or a student over and over and over and over again. Something that I've learned in my 6 years of teaching Black history to millions without a college degree
Yeah.
is I'm going to get things wrong and there's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
And I will never, ever be the expert or one person that knows everything about this topic. And I'm going to forget some things that I
Yeah.
teach about. I'm going to forget some things that I researched. And it's up to me to have the humility to go back and learn those things again, to go back and try and find a new perspective and not look at it in a way where I have to get it right or I have to show how much I know about this topic. And going back to my writing down your intention, I feel that that's incredibly important to me because with the way that I teach Black history, I want people to leave feeling like they have more pride in their identity or they have more curiosity to learn more and they feel lighter and they feel joy in it rather than me teaching Black history and they leave feeling even more weighed down or
Heavy. Yeah.
like the world is crumbling down. So having that intention and always being a student, I would say.
I absolutely love that. That's a good answer. I don't even have to answer it because ditto.
Amen. We're on the same wavelength.
We are. We definitely are. The one thing that I will say, if you like want to produce this type of content, yes, writing down your intention behind it, but also like from a technical standpoint, or not even technical, but from a big picture standpoint, where do you want this to take you? Not necessarily financially or anything, but what role is this playing in your life? You
Mm.
know, it could be, oh, I just want to do this for this set amount of time or this right now. I don't have anything. It could be that, or it could be like, Me, for example, I started my YouTube channel as the vehicle to get me to the goal. I started my YouTube channel back when actors didn't really have platforms. Brand partnerships and content creation wasn't that much of a thing when back in 2017. So I saw that opening there and I was like, this is just a vehicle to get me to the goal, to get me on shows or whatever the case may be. So knowing where this plays in your story can also help you determine which avenues you will and won't go down within that. Just because I create videos on acting, that doesn't mean that I would work with XYZ brand or,
Yeah.
go off in this direction. Maybe I want to keep on the straight and narrow or whatever the case may be. Like knowing that is very important. But I also like how you said the intention behind it, how you want people to feel, because that is super important. When I first started, I wrote down my mission statement for
Mm-hmm.
my YouTube channel. And it is, let me see if I still remember it. I create content for Black creatives who want to escape fear and share their creativity with the world without compromising their faith in God, their uniqueness, and without breaking the bank. And that is important for me. Definitely like the faith part because people really be selling their soul for a book, for 2 seconds of fame, especially like in the day and age we live in. And living in LA, I see that. I used to just like people say that and I'd be like, yeah, yeah, but I see it play out each and every day. And I'm like, don't sell yourself short. Don't sell your
Yeah.
soul to nobody, nothing. Don't be a sellout because you ain't gonna be happy in 30, 40 years. Even though it's like the
Mm-hmm.
instant gratification is there, you ain't gonna be happy with that decision that you made down the line. So yeah, we on the same wavelength though with the advice.
I love that. I love that you memorized that. That's so special.
Thank you. I used to say it at the beginning of every one of my videos. I had to let the people know. And back to what we was talking about Black creators, that in itself, when I would say that at the beginning of my videos, people that are not Black would be like, well, I'm about to unsubscribe. Well, I'm not gonna watch. Well, I'm not. They even say that on my podcast. They'd be like, well, I'm not Black. So does that mean I can't watch your podcast? Yes, you can. It's called Affirmations for Black Girls because it is a solo led show by a Black girl. That's
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. And it's a resource that I wanted to have when I was young. So anyways, girl, yeah. Yeah. It's important for us to make sure that we're choosing joy anyway.
I love that. I think you asked me what I would want this to lead to. Like I would say like at the core of Fastback history, the love for me is in the storytelling, finding these figures' history and turning them into my own interpretation of it while keeping the facts straight.
Hmm.
So I really want to take that into film and TV. Something that I've wanted for years now is to one day be a screenwriter. And one day I've even thought about like show running. So that is definitely the next shift, hopefully in the next couple years, building my portfolio with short films and longer form narrative content. That's something that is a huge dream of mine.
That is freaking amazing. Well, I'm an actress, so listen.
Hey,
Let
main
me
character,
right,
main character.
okay, main character. I was about to say, let me audition for a side role. Main character, baby. Okay, main character. Let me audition. That is amazing. I'm praying for you. I really hope that that happens sooner than later. I think it's important for us to have stories being told that, especially like about like Black stories being told that are just joyful. There's a lot of like how you said you don't want to watch a random slave movie on a Friday night. Like there's so much of that. We need more. We need more. I was actually watching Forever and
Mm,
I think we've been conditioned a little bit. I was talking to my friend about one part of the show remember when, did you watch Forever on Netflix?
I did not.
Oh
I
God.
did not,
Okay.
but I know all the discourse around it. I
Okay.
know all the
Okay.
discourse.
Okay, so the part where the main character, the guy, gets he was dropping Keisha off at home and the police ended up behind him. I was like, don't make me turn this show off, y'all. Like I literally, my heart started to like race a little bit in a way that it does when you watch TV. Nothing crazy, but we're so like we're taught, oh, something bad about to happen. And that's when people ask me how I like Forever, I always say I love it because Mara didn't go there. We don't need that. We don't need that because even in real life today, anytime a police officer is behind me, my heart is racing. My palms are sweaty, knees weak, mom spaghetti. Okay, I'm nervous.
Now,
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I had to. I do that every time. I do that every time I say like I get nervous about something. But yes, I get so nervous and I'm so glad that she didn't take it there and I just want way more of that. I'm so glad we just got to see them being kids with none of
yeah.
the extra stuff. So, yeah, I hope you create projects like that. Feel
You
good
know I will.
projects.
I
Yeah.
that is my goal, just to
Okay, perfect.
create films and create stories where we're just living, we're just having a good time.
Yes.
Like that's something you could put on a Friday night. Yeah.
Yes. 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 Oh, I can't wait. At the end of the day, choosing joy as a Black creator, especially somebody like Taylor Cassidy, is a radical act. When your goal is to educate, to uplift, and entertain, it's more important than ever to take care of yourself so that you don't get lost in the sauce. Taylor's biggest focus is making sure she finds joy in everything she does, no matter how heavy or important the work feels. That joy isn't just a luxury, it's the fuel that keeps her going. Creating content that educates and uplifts can take a lot out of you. It's easy to get caught in the pressure to always be on, always producing, always being perfect. But Taylor reminds us that protecting your joy, finding moments of laughter, play, and lightness is essential. It's how you stay connected to why you even started doing this in the first place. Your rest, your voice, and your creativity all matter, not just for what they produce, but for who they allow you to be and who it allows you to inspire. Real balance means carving out space to enjoy the process, to celebrate the small wins, and to do things that aren't attached to productivity or outcome. When you prioritize joy, you're not only preserving your own energy, you're building a sustainable way to support both your work and your well-being. Uh-oh, y'all, you know what time it is. It is time for our fun closing segment. And today's closing segment is going to be Give Them Their Flowers, where each one of us are going to shout out a Black creator that you think more people should know about. So, Taylor, who do you think more people should know about? One Black creator.
I have to shout her out, one, because she's one of my best friends, but also because she introduced me to this podcast and because I think she's one of the hardest working creators that I know. Her username is OK Sophie. Her name is Sophie St. Louis.
Okay.
And she is a makeup, beauty, and lifestyle creator. But what she does is she tests brands for how shade inclusive their branding is. And she talks about her own life. She talks about what she's been through in her life, how important skincare and self-love and body image is to her. And I just feel like when you go on her account, it's just this burst of color and energy and creativity and somebody who truly cares about what they're doing. And I truly think like if by chance you have been on my account and like felt like the joy and the lightness and the colorfulness, just take that and add makeup, add beauty, boom. That's OK Sophie. So yeah, I'm shouting her out.
Let me see. Let me follow Sophie. Got her. Yes. Sophie St. Louis. Oh yeah. Oh yes. 110%. 110%. I definitely needed to know about her. Y'all go and follow her. She is a dark-skinned Black woman. I need to follow more dark-skinned Black women. that has definitely been my goal, that I like, my silent goal. Thank you so much, especially about the inclusivity with makeup. Because when I was
Yeah,
growing up, or when I first started wearing makeup, I always felt so ugly because the white cast that would be on like the drugstore makeup and stuff like that. I'm
and the
excited.
sunscreen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
girl, girl, don't get me started on the sunscreen. Yes, look at all this color. Oh my gosh, she is so good at doing makeup. Y'all go follow Sophie right now. It's okay Sophie on Instagram. Is she also on like TikTok and stuff too? Same
yeah,
username?
she's everywhere.
Okay.
TikTok, YouTube, Threads, Twitter. She's everywhere.
Everywhere.
She's
Okay.
everywhere.
Thank you so much for sharing her.
Of course.
Okay. Me. Who I wanna, girl. See, I wasn't
Mm.
ready. I would, you know what? Since you shouted out one of your best friends, I'm gonna shout out my best friend. Well, the
Period.
podcast already know about her. Hold on, that's probably cheap. I'm gonna still do it anyway. I want to shout out my best friend, Bria Black. Let me see if it got an underscore up in there right quick. But
And
her,
I'm gonna look her up too.
it's Bria Black underscore. She is my best friend, and she's also a content creator. She lives in Minneapolis, and she does a lot of content around living in Minneapolis as a Black woman and how to create community there. She also just did a documentary about Black love in the Twin Cities, but Black love overall. And it was such a dope thing because she invited women and men to give their experience for dating in this culture and this climate. And it was so dope because she wants to get into filmmaking, like actually doing documentaries and stuff. So she just did that, which was amazing. And she's married. That's who I was talking about. The husband that called me, her husband. That was like, man, you
That's
need to
her.
check his
Oh,
baby.
I love it. I love that.
But anyways, her documentary is called Operation Black Love, and well, her series is called Operation Black Love. And especially as a single woman who is 30, I think she's doing very important work to showcase in a positive light Black people, both men and women, finding love in this age of social media. She's a dope storyteller. Absolutely love all of the work that she's doing, and I cannot wait for her to go further. She's been on the podcast a couple of times. She's taught me so much, especially about like daily luxuries and like just making sure that you're finding the joy in everyday life, and just elevating your lifestyle in whatever way that you can with whatever means you have. So I just love her so much. She is my safe space, and she's definitely an inspiration behind the way that my podcast is set up. So y'all go and follow Bria. It's Bria Black underscore, and it's everywhere on TikTok. What's all the platforms? I can't even say them. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere.
Yeah.
Threads, yeah. She's
Okay.
everywhere. Yeah.
I'm a follower too. I love that. I love that documentary name. I'm into documentaries too, so I'm definitely gonna have to check that out.
Yay. Yay. But yes, girl, I have had so much freaking fun talking to you right now. Before we get out of here, you guys, make sure that you go and pre-order Taylor Cassidy's book. Let me show you again. Black history is your history. Okay, it's your history. Yes, Black history is your history. Make sure you go. Eee! We look so cute holding it up together. Do it again.
Oh, so
We
cute.
do look so cute. I really cannot wait to read this. I definitely will. How long did it take you to write this?
I started writing it in 2021 and
Oh wow.
I finished at the end of I finished it in the middle of 2024, I
Oh
believe.
wow. That's amazing. Okay. But yes, you guys, go ahead and get your copy. And it's for young adults, right? Young adults?
Yes, it's
Okay.
for marketed toward
Right.
middle grade, but anybody could read it.
Okay. Gotcha, gotcha. Which is great because that means it's easily digestible.
Right.
Okay. Well, I had so much fun, Taylor. Is there
I
any,
had so much fun too.
y'all let me know if y'all want Taylor to come back on the show. I mean, I probably already have her back because I just enjoyed this conversation so much, but let me know in the comments of this video if you would like to have her back. Is there anything else you would like to say to the people before we get out of here?
I would like to say Tyra is amazing. This podcast is
Oh.
amazing. Thank you so much for having me. And there's a phrase that I say at the end of, I used to say it at the end of all of my Black Girl Magic Minute videos, which is a different web series, I'd say keep rising. So I'll leave you all with that. Keep rising.
Keep rising. Girl, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the show. I enjoyed every moment of this. I could talk to you all day, especially when it comes to Black history. I don't really have this discourse a lot in daily life. So I think it's very needed. And I'm so glad that you are doing the work that you're doing. You are definitely needed.
I appreciate that so much. And hey, if you ever want to have more discourse, I'm here. I'm here.
Yes, we have to. Especially whenever I start like going home and talking about the prom thing I was telling you about.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to keep you updated on that. I'm gonna keep you updated because my cousin, literally, she only in how old is Christy? Christy, that means she probably like she late 30s, early 40s, maybe. Not even early 40s. Yeah, like late 30s. Yeah, she went to the
Like, that's
first integrated
crazy.
prom. Yes.
I'm gonna need that documentary.
Oh God. Okay. You just made me nervous because I don't do documentaries. I just do little cutesy content. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. It's
Creative
gonna come.
challenge, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna come. Let me start the artist way, and then we'll get it. We'll get it together.
Few things are as powerful as power.